What is going on, you guys? It's your girl Diana back at you with another YouTube video. We have finally gotten part 1 of Ash vs. Leon, and this episode did not disappoint. So if you're interested in hearing my recap and review, then just keep on watching. And of course, if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button because it helps your girl out, and give this video a thumbs up if you are a Pokemon fan so we can push it out into the YouTube algorithm so that more Pokemon fans can see it and we can all vibe in the comments. And if you would like another way to support the channel, please feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. But let's hop into part 1 of Ash vs. Leon. So this is the moment that we have been waiting for literally years. It is part 1 of Ash vs. Leon, which is titled The Finals Part 1 Torrent. We start off this episode with a couple of scenes of Go meeting up with the rest of Project Mew and having a conversation with Gary about how he can't be there with Ash to cheer him on in person, but he knows that he's gonna win because they promised each other that they were gonna meet up again with a smile. But just because Go can't be there in person doesn't mean we can't get a ton of different cameos throughout the episode. Starting off with Best Girl Dawn making another appearance along with Chloe, and Dawn even brings some of her old cheerleading gear from the Sinnoh days so that Piplup and Eevee can cheer on Ash from the sidelines too. Which I must say, Eevee cheering with a little pom-pom on its tail is probably like the cutest thing I've ever seen. We also get a couple of moments with Leon before the battle actually starts, where he's sitting in his locker room with Hop as he reminisces over his first Pokemon battle, showing that he's actually really fired up for this battle with Ash. As the battle begins and they're going over all of their announcements, we also get a couple of more cameos from other past characters like Iris watching the battle from a tree, Lance and Dragonite watching from afar, and a ton of others. We keep the intros for Ash and Leon pretty brief, with them introducing Ash as the first Alola champ and a strong trainer, and of course Leon as the reigning undefeated champ. However, this is where Leon drops the bomb that he wants Ash to go all out for this battle. Leon's out here like, listen, I need a little bit of a challenge, so you know what, Ash? Why don't you go ahead and use every single gimmick that you know? Which means that in this battle, we're gonna be able to see Ash use Dynamax, Z-moves, and Megas against Leon. And I'm pretty sure Leon can only Dynamax, so that shows just how confident this guy is. Ash then starts the battle by sending out his ace, of course, Pikachu. And Leon leads off with one of my favorite Galar Pokemon, Cinderace. Ash attempts to make quick work of the Cinderace and goes right in for the Thunderbolt. And Leon has Cinderace use Scorching Sands, which is an odd move to have on a Cinderace. As Cinderace is using Scorching Sands, we see his little headpiece start to glow. And as Thunderbolt makes contact with Cinderace, so does Scorching Sands with Pikachu. Pikachu takes heavy damage from Scorching Sands, but we pan over to Cinderace, who literally just shakes off Thunderbolt like it was nothing. And in reality, it was nothing, because Leon drops yet another bomb that his Cinderace actually has the Libero ability, which at this point I was screaming. I was actually so excited that they gave his Cinderace the Libero ability just because it makes him that much more dangerous. Because everybody knows how broken Libero Cinderace is in actual competitive. And Libero Cinderace is actually the ace on my Sword and Shield team. Her name is Floof. Ash is super taken aback that Cinderace is now a ground type Pokemon and Pikachu's electric type attacks are gonna have no effect on it. So he quickly recalls Pikachu, but then Leon's like, psych, you thought. I'm recalling Cinderace now. Ash then sends out Gengar and Leon sends out Inteleon. At this point, Ash is like, it kind of feels like I'm fighting Go's Pokemon, which I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know if Go's Pokemon can hold a candle to Leon's, but sure. But Ash has Gengar use a Shadow Ball and Leon counters with Inteleon using a Snipe Shot. Inteleon manages to stop the Shadow Ball using its tail, and of course, Leon is prepared for everything, so he has Inteleon use Dark Pulse. Ash has Gengar dodge Dark Pulse by phasing into the ground, but of course, Leon's got a strategy for this as well, and has Inteleon use Aqua Jet to form a counter shield just like Ash's. He even states that he took inspiration from Ash's battle with Cynthia and used it to improve his own strategy, showing that Leon actually kind of respects Ash. But at this point, Gengar is unable to dodge the counter shield and keeps taking a little bit of damage every time it gets hit. Ash then goes for Will-O-Wisp, but it's unable to break the counter shield, but it does cause a cloud of steam to form, which skews Inteleon's line of sight, and Ash takes the opportunity to get huge and Gigantamax Gengar. So already we're seeing the first of the gimmicks being used. Leon then has Inteleon use another Snipe Shot, but this time Inteleon is dual wielding according to Hop, which honestly I thought that was kind of cool. Ash then has Gengar use Max Phantasm, and Inteleon is actually agile enough to dodge the first few objects, but it does end up getting hit by one of the objects. This then activates the trap and Inteleon is no longer able to switch out, so Noodle Lizard is stuck. Leon then has Inteleon use another Dark Pulse, and Ash has Gengar use Max Ooze. Inteleon struggles to get away from Max Ooze, but does eventually get Dark Pulse to land dead onto Gengar. And this Dark Pulse was actually so strong that it actually broke Gengar's Gigantamax Gigantamax. I'm assuming this is probably supposed to be some kind of critical hit, but that did not mean that Inteleon came out unscathed, as it did take a direct hit from Max Ooze and was actually KO'd, which means that our boy Ash is actually in the lead at this point and takes the first win. Leon then sends out Mr. Rime, which is the last Pokemon that we have yet to see him use in battle during the tournament. Leon has Mr. Rime use Freeze Dry, which lands a direct hit on Gengar and actually ends up freezing him. Leon then goes in for another Freeze Dry, but Mr. Rime is unable to perform the attack. We then pan over to Ash, who has a smirk on his face, and we find out that his Gengar actually has the Cursed Body ability, so Freeze Dry is now disabled. But this definitely does not put Leon at a disadvantage, as he has Mr. Rime set up Psychic Terrain, which is bad news for Gengar, as Psychic Terrain increases the power of Psychic type moves. And since Gengar is frozen and unable to move, Leon has Mr. Rime skate over to Gengar and get a direct hit with an Expanding Force powered up by Psychic Terrain, which you could only imagine Gengar takes a huge hit and is KO'd, which now leaves Ash and Leon on an even playing field, both having 5 Pokemon left. Ash still has 2 more gimmicks that he's able to use, while Leon still has his Dynamax. But before Ash can send out another Pokemon, this is actually where the episode concludes. But man, was that an action-packed episode. Not only do we get the giant plot twist that Ash is now able to use all 3 gimmicks, we also find out that Leon has a broken Libero Cinderace, which is definitely going to be a powerhouse during this battle. He took inspiration from Ash using a counter shield, and let's not forget about Ash dropping that sneaky Cursed Body ability. They're still on an even playing field with each of them still having 5 Pokemon left, but it's clear that there is a pretty big power gap between Ash and Leon, which I think is why they decided to add in the twist that Ash is able to use all 3 gimmicks, because it looks like he's gonna need them. I mean, he already used his Dynamax within the first couple of minutes of the battle just to get rid of one of Leon's Pokemon. And since we still know that he's still able to use Mega Evolution and Z-Move, I have a feeling that this is gonna end up being a Pikachu versus Charizard finale, with Pikachu having to use a Z-Move, and of course Leon probably Gigantamaxing his Charizard, which honestly I wouldn't have it any other way, an ace on ace battle. But overall, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. There was definitely a ton of action, and it was great seeing all the cameos from past characters. And I'm sure we'll get a ton more, as this is a 4-part finale. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and who do you think is gonna win? But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.